Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News here on CNC3 and the TBC Radio Network. I am Keishan Haynes. The PNM's political leader and head of the 1 PNM slate, Penelope Beckles, is declaring victory for her team in yesterday's internal election. Speaking with CNC3 News earlier today outside the Parliament, Beckles said while the official numbers are yet to be confirmed, the preliminary results point to a landslide victory. She also responded to claims of irregularities that marred the process and reiterated the need for changes to the method.
I have been in elections. I've contested many elections in the PNM, and from time to time you would hear the issue of irregularities. I mean, you would have heard me speak about the importance of modernization of the party, you know, looking at how we address those issues. I mean, I was pretty open about it, that we have some work to do as it relates to that. So I'm looking forward to addressing it. I mean, you know, we have to accept that there have been some shortcomings, and we have to deal with it.
Meanwhile, Foster Cummings told CNC3 News that information suggests he successfully retained his post as General Secretary. He said the results will be ratified on Sunday at the PNM convention. And PNM's incumbent Public Relations Officer, Faris Al-Rawi, says he does not expect claims of irregularities in Sunday's internal election to affect the party's thrust towards unifying and moving forward. Independent candidates and members of the People's Championship slate, headed by attorney Farai Masaisai, flagged issues including canvassing at polling stations. A formal letter was also sent to the Election Supervisory Committee expressing alarm over its failure to respond to concerns raised in a timely manner. A call has also been made for an investigation to determine the extent of the irregularities. However, Al-Rawi believes confidence in the party will not be eroded.
The healing process is one that has to happen, and an election is a competition. You must expect sharp competition. We are nowhere near as sharp as the UNC's internal elections, and here they are in government. What we had this time around was a slate of people that refused to give their names. This game changers position. Maybe an analysis of the vote will show how that operated or didn't operate. So it's the first time in our democratic processes we saw an anonymous group making barbs.
Now, Masaisai had said while the process was far from, quote, fair, he accepted the results. And all eyes are on the Tobago House of Assembly this afternoon as it delivers what is seen as one of the TPP's most important budgets. With growing economic pressure and unmet demands from key sectors, stakeholders are listening closely. Elizabeth Gonzalez is there and brings us this report.
I am standing outside the Assembly Legislature building uptown Scarborough, where the THA has already started its presentation for its 2025-2026 budget. Now, this budget is actually its final presentation before this Assembly term ends in December, paving the way for the next THA elections. Now, today is a historic moment, not just because it's the last budget, but because it will be presented by Tobago's first female finance secretary, Petalan Roberts. Now, she took over the portfolio last year after Chief Secretary Fali Augustine gave it up during a reshuffle of his secretaries. Now, for the past 3 years, the THA has asked for just under $4 billion. That figure is based on what it says is 6.9% of the national budget, the maximum share Tobago is allowed under the dispute resolution process in the THA Act. But over the years, the island has only received about $2.5 billion, roughly a third less than requested. Now, with a new government elected in the central government, Tobagonians are watching closely to see whether this year's budget request by the THA comes closer to the full request when the national budget is presented later this year. Elizabeth Gonzalez, CNC3, Scarborough.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Now, Energy Minister Dr. Rudal Munilal says the planned increase in gas production from Shell's Manatee field will bring in much-needed revenue for the country. Speaking in the Parliament this morning during the debate on the $3.14 billion supplementary appropriation requested by the government, Munilal said the boost in production directly addresses the question of how the administration intends to fund its policies and fulfill its promises. He credited the development to what he called the good vibes brought by the new government. Shell Trinidad and Tobago recently announced that it intends to ramp up activity in the Manatee field, which forms part of the cross-border Lauren Manatee Reservoir.
All we did in a short time is to work with a major leading multinational corporation and discuss enhancing gas production by giving some critical support to that multinational. And we are on the point now where we can look at a 10% increase in gas production. That means 10% revenue more. So when they ask where the revenue coming from, this morning I will outline where the revenue coming from.
The Manatee gas field is located offshore off the east coast of Trinidad and Tobago. Now, Minister in the Ministry of Health, Dr. Rashad Sitcharan, says he's looking forward to dialogue on matters relating to the health sector with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi during his visit next month. Sitcharan is hopeful that key partnership potentials will feature in the discussions.
Definitely, we would try to engage the government in India through Prime Minister Modi and see how best that relationship could be of advantage to Trinidad and Tobago. With regards to the specifics, I would prefer for the Prime Minister to elaborate on those, but definitely we would be looking at a partnership. In the past, we have used hospitals in India with assistance for the Children's Life Fund, and we will look to see if we could expand.
Now, Modi has visited Trinidad and Tobago before, but this will be his first official trip as a Prime Minister, and of course, his first meeting with Kamala Persad-Bissessar as Prime Minister. Now, President of the Prison Officers Association, Gerard Gordon, says there are societal issues which are affecting the way the public sees prison officers. In the latest attack, prison officer Govindra Balgobin was shot on Friday night in an assassination attempt. He worked at the maximum security prison and was attacked after leaving there around 8:25 p.m. Gordon says there are those who blame prison officers for the attacks on their lives, justifying the criminal behavior. Now, he says while there may be a small percentage of rogue prison officers, however, this is not justification for the murder of any officer.
Every time something happens to a prison officer, somebody they put forward a narrative of that is the cause. And what happens is that we don't place the blame where it really ought to be, and that is with our charges. That is with the criminal element. You see, as a people, we have to move away from this thing of, oh gosh, this man getting some kind of altercation, or he was doing X or he was doing Y.
Now, the Prison Officers Association president adds that attacks on officers continue because of inaction, as there's very little detection and prosecutions remain low. Officer Balgobin is in need of blood, and anyone willing to donate can contact the association at 396-6181 or 280-6504. And with that, we take a break. We'll be right back.
Things don't always go as expected. Be ready with Trinry for auto, home, business and group life. Call us at 800-TRIN or visit trinry.com today. Huge insurance premium. Pay your premiums bit by bit with FlexiPay from Trinry. For more manageable auto, home and commercial insurance payments, call us at 800-TRIN or visit trinry.com today. Trinry. Premier insurance coverage for less.
ChatGPT, I'm falling.
Failing grades? Contact Student Hub.
I ain't say failing, I say falling.
Then it's time to stop failing. Student Hub helps students succeed online. If school feels like a free fall, Student Hub helps you land on top.
The Trinidad and Tobago senior men's football team fell short of the CONCACAF Gold Cup quarterfinals last night, settling for a 1-1 draw with Saudi Arabia in Las Vegas. Dante Sealy gave TNT an early lead with a stunning goal in the 10th minute, but Saudi Arabia equalized in the 59th after sustained pressure. Now, despite Haiti losing to the U.S. in simultaneous match, the draw meant TNT could not advance, with the Soca Warriors finishing third on the table with 2 points, extending their Gold Cup knockout drought to over a decade. Another quick break, we'll be right back.
Inside every cell is a metabolic engine, AMPK. Berberine Plus helps ignite that engine, turning sugar into energy and fat into fuel. Whether you're managing sugar or trimming fat, Berberine Plus supports your goals naturally. Berberine Plus, now available at Pennywise and leading pharmacies nationwide.
Things don't always go as expected. Be ready with Trinry for auto, home, business and group life. Call us at 800 TRIN or visit trinry.com today. Huge insurance premium. Pay your premiums bit by bit with FlexiPay from Trinry. For more manageable auto, home and commercial insurance payments, call us at 800 TRIN or visit trinry.com today. Trinry, premier insurance coverage for less.
Our world is filled with rhythm. Rhythm that's unapologetic, infectious, timeless. Rhythm is commitment in action. It's how we show up for each other with unrelenting support that goes the distance. Rhythm lives in the tiny beats of our most intimate moments and the seismic roars of our biggest achievements. Rhythm is resilience in motion. So even when things go out of sync, we do what it takes to bring the rhythm back. At Flow, we understand your rhythm because we live it. That's why we're dedicated to building a network as resilient as you, with a team of familiar faces working every day to keep you on beat. You're at the heart of everything we do, and our commitment is to keep your rhythm flowing, no matter what.
Some of us like to test limits, but there won't always be second chances. Obey the speed limits. Maybe you don't value your life, but others value theirs. A message from the TTPS.
Suriname is set to form a new government after its May 25th parliamentary elections were officially declared valid by the Independent Electoral Bureau. Despite reports of irregularities, the Bureau confirmed these did not impact the outcome. All objections were reviewed and the results are now binding. Under the new proportional representation system, no party secured a 2/3 majority. The National Democratic Party won 18 out of 51 seats and is leading a coalition of 6 parties. Chan Santoki's party won 17 seats and will now serve as the opposition. The coalition has nominated 2 members for the president and vice president, but before that, Parliament must elect a new chair on June 30th. The presidential vote is set for July 8th. Now, if no candidate secures a 2/3 majority, the decision moves to the broader United People's Assembly, where a simple majority is enough to elect the next president. Let's check in with Jamal Grampasad with today's weather.
The adverse weather alert has been discontinued by the Met Office as conditions have now become settled after some heavy rainfall over central and southern areas of Trinidad this morning. These somewhat settled conditions are expected to continue this afternoon, but some more showers and isolated thunderstorms are off to our east and southeast, associated with tropical wave number 9, and that is expected to move in this evening and tonight. I'll have more details in the afternoon and evening weather reports.
And we thank you for joining us for a look at the day's developments so far. We'll have these stories and so much more in our major newscast at 7 p.m. Have a great day.
You're watching CNC3.